Life5 and probiotic. So what is a probiotic? You know, we hear this all the time. It's become a very common, oh, you need a probiotic, and we'll talk a little bit about some of the advertisers that have made this very commonplace. But let's back up a little bit and say, what does it mean? Well, it comes from two Greek words, pro meaning promoting, and biotic meaning life. So it's promoting life. And the Food and Agricultural Organization of the United Nations, they define probiotics as live microorganisms which, when administered in adequate amounts, confer a health benefit on the host. So what's interesting about that, when you hear that term, you say, what do you mean live microorganisms? Yes, probiotics are exactly that. They are live microorganisms of bacteria. And what most people don't know, and I certainly didn't know this, even several months ago, is that our stomach, our whole digestive tract, has over 400 species of these microorganisms, and they're called microflora, that's the technical word for them, in our digestive tract. Now, the largest group of probiotic bacteria is lactic acid, and I think the technical word is pronounced Lactobacillus acidophilus. And if you've been, back in the 70s and 80s, you might remember acidophilus pills. Well, acidophilus is found very naturally in yogurt and other live cultures, any type of product that has a live culture in it. And Jamie Lee Curtis, of course, of Activia, has really made this kind of mainstream with their bifidus regularis, which is just a total made-up word on their part, which is hysterical, but that's what marketers do, and they've really promoted this. Now, why is, having a probiotic important? Well, besides supplementation, just in general, probiotics are needed. We have to have the right balance of these microorganisms throughout our intestinal tract for digestion as well as for overall health. And in fact, the naturopathic world really believes that all of your health is rooted in good digestion and bowel function. And when you think about it, it kind of makes sense because, in your digestive tract, you're taking in food, it's going into your stomach first and getting broken down. Then your actual digestive tract, right, all your intestines, they're responsible for the transfer of nutrients into your bloodstream. And then when you look at the bowel function, that really is what they call the command center for your immunity as well as the elimination of waste products. And so for all of this function to work properly, you have to have the proper balance with all of these microorganisms for good intestinal function. Now, you say, okay, so if I need this for good intestinal function, what actually affects the microflora or probiotics in my stomach? Well, there's several things. Inadequate dietary fiber. Antibiotics, that's a huge one, and this is probably one of the most common things you hear all the time. People say, oh, I'm on antibiotics, are you taking a probiotic? And in fact, many doctors will say, don't take that probiotic until after you're done taking the antibiotics. And why is that? Well, because the antibiotic goes in and just wipes out everything. It wipes out all the bacteria, both good and bad, and that's why so many people are so susceptible to getting another cold or flu after they've had an antibiotic, because they don't have the good bacteria that help support their immune system. Infant feeding formula actually is also a big contributor to the improper balance in the microflora. And then the ingestion of environmental toxins, and that is the whole host of, water, air, pesticides, toxins, everything that we kind of talk about with Young Living and the quality of products. Now, what happens when your good and bad bacteria are no longer in balance? Well, the problem is that the bad bacteria can take over and yeast can flourish, and that leads to a lot of different conditions. For example, diarrhea. irritable bowel syndrome, yeast infections, ulcerative colitis, Crohn's disease. As we said, just a weak immune system or constantly being sick. Lactose intolerance, which, hey, how many people over the age of 40 all of a sudden say, I'm lactose intolerant? A lot of this comes right back to that whole digestive issue. Hay fever. Those of you that are suffering from hay fever during seasonal allergies, believe it or not, it could be rooted in your microflora. Constipation, so the other end of the spectrum can also be because of an imbalance in this flora. Cancers like colon cancer and bladder cancer, which again makes sense because that's all part of the elimination process. And believe it or not, I was shocked to find this out, canker sores can be a result of having this imbalance. Now, as it relates to kind of the promoting of probiotics, it's not just the naturopathic world that's behind this now. In fact, the Mayo Clinic has put up a statement on their website, which is about as good of an endorsement as you're going to get from that type of institution. And they said probiotics and these microorganisms may help with digestion and offer protection from harmful bacteria. Now, I think that's pretty good as far as coming from the Mayo Clinic. They've even put it out there as a statement. What about the safety? A lot of people say, well, okay, it sounds like I might need to be taking a probiotic, but is it safe? Well, first of all, remember that probiotics, these microflora, they're already in your digestive system, right? And we've been using natural probiotics for centuries throughout history because any fermented foods, like sauerkraut, any fermented dairy products, cultured milk products, all of these are actually natural forms of probiotic. But because everything is so processed now and we don't make things like that at home anymore, we're not getting them in their natural form, as Sue was talking about the vitamin issue. So as long as you're using a high quality probiotic, and sometimes they'll sell probiotics that are in pressed tablets, that's just junk, absolute junk, because there's nothing living about that. You want to get a probiotic that is in a capsule so that it is still in its living state. Anything that's put under pressure like that is definitely going to be dead. Now, Young Living has a fabulous probiotic supplement called Life5. And it helps to colonize and support the immune system by ensuring that proper balance that we talked about. Each tablet has over 8 million active and viable cultures, and 5 of those are the most clinically proven and advanced probiotic strains, 3 of which are considered super strains. And what does that mean? Basically, those are the ones that represent the most health promoting benefits. And super strains are 10 times more likely to adhere to and colonize in the bowel, and that's really important. And this is why you always want to take a probiotic at night with food, because it needs something to attach itself to, and you're better off allowing it to go through your intestines and do its work at night. We're not going to be talking about inner defense on this particular audio, but it's an important note here that inner defense is the weed, meaning that's a product that when you're taking it, you should be taking it in the morning, and the Life5 is what they call the feed. So the weed and feed system. I thought that was really kind of clever, just like your lawn. So you want to take that at night. It, of course, improves nutrient absorption. And for those of you who have had any type of biofeedback done and the system has identified perhaps poor nutrient absorption, which is just about anyone over the age of 35, this is a really great product to be taking. It can be taken daily, or if you don't feel as though you have any intestinal issues, certainly it can be taken intensively at the onset or directly after you've had an illness. For example, with the antibiotic issue, you would take it afterwards. And as far as who can take it, healthy kids and adults can use this particular product. Of course, if you have any questions, we are not medical professionals and you want to talk to your doctor. So what are your next steps? Well, of course, start taking Life5. And if you aren't already a member of Young Living, certainly contact the person who sent you this video and you can learn how you can order online. And if you don't have somebody who has introduced you to Young Living and you're getting to this video by another means, certainly you can contact us at keystoyoungerliving@gmail.com. Thank you very much.